You're listening to Captain John Doe, real aviation stories told anonymously. Let's get into it. Happy Wednesday, Doughheads. We're back with another great episode of the Captain John Doe podcast. I'm Mindy.
With your favorite host here, Kevin. And this is not just any ordinary episode of the Captain John Doe podcast. Come on. You're just going to say, welcome back to another Wednesday here at Captain John Doe headquarters. No, it's not normal.
You're fired
It
up.
is not normal. This is not normal. You are a crazy person, and you're about to tell everybody why you're a crazy person.
I'm a little delulu. Yep, we know. Okay, well, what Kevin is getting at, if you guys have not heard the word on the street, if you guys aren't following us on social media, I am crazy.
Yes.
And I bought a flight school.
What? Who does that?
Yeah, I bought a flight school in Gainesville, Georgia. We've officially moved to Georgia. So throughout the last few episodes, when we've been dropping a lot of hints about some big changes, we were literally in a move across the country with all of our things, flying our airplane across the country, getting settled in a new house. And I have been moving towards closing on this incredible business, this flight school. It's called North Georgia Aviation.
NGAV, hashtag.
NGAV for short, NGAV. And I finally closed on it. I can't believe it was a long time in the making. And I got to the closing table about 2-3 weeks ago. And life has been absolutely crazy. But
So let's just actually give a good timeline. So right now it's July 15th. Okay. So we have actually been over here since the last week of May. Is that right?
yeah.
So we packed up Vegas. We had our stuff shipped. And then we embarked on another cross-country trek in Mojo.
So, fun fact, the story where we overnighted in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Kevin just willfully gave me away to a firefighter, that was on our way here to Georgia.
Right. That was it. I was like, if I continue on, I continue on.
Yeah, if I have a
You
seat.
can stay in Belen, New Mexico, okay?
No, you can stay there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to talk about right now because
Let's skip past the flying part and tell
Okay.
that next time.
You want to tell that next story? That's a good point. We can, because there's a lot that happened on the flying aspect. So let's just go. So once again, we've been in Georgia since the last, well, maybe 2 weeks of May.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So let's answer some frequently asked questions, some FAQs.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
First of all, let me just give you some background on the school. Everyone wants to know how big the school is and,
Huge.
well, I think some people, when I said I own a flight school, they're like, oh, so you're just flight instructing full time in your plane? No.
Nope.
Nope. No.
It's not that simple.
Mojo is not on the flight line, first of all. Mojo will not be taking any flight instruction. And also, I am not flight instructing. I think that in the future, once I get my feet wet, I would love to do some discovery flights with some of you guys that are coming in. I think Kevin's in the same boat as me, that we would love to take some people up flying on those really special moments when it's some of our fans and followers and listeners as we can.
Right. To piggyback on that, I also am not instructing.
Yes.
There.
Kevin's not employed at my flight school. I don't know that I can afford him anymore. He has his own news to share, which is annoying because I don't think he's going to tell you guys right now.
I mean, we all know what I'm doing. I just am waiting until I'm through training. Okay. How about that?
Kevin is not employed at my flight school. If I can afford him on his off days, I would love for him to be as much a part of it as possible. But okay. What's the scope of the flight school? It is a Part 61 flight school in Gainesville, Georgia. The airport code is GVL, Golf Victor Lima. And I have 8 aircraft on our training fleet. It is a 50-50 mixed bag of Cirrus aircraft and Cessna aircraft. So on the Cirrus side, we have 3 brand new SR20s, so G7 plus, and one of them is a G7. So they're brand new, beautiful G7 SR20s.
Like brand new. I mean, like 2026 model.
Yes, with air conditioning and the Garmin Perspective Plus avionics and the touchscreen.
They're even painted in the NGAV colors.
2 of that, 2 of the 3, yes. And then the 4th Cirrus, I actually have at a neighboring airport. It's meant to be more of a rental, but we are doing quite a bit of training in it right now. It's an SR22T G6, but that one is available on our flight school insurance as well. So we've been using that quite a bit lately.
Right. I do think that one, especially for our listeners out there and for everybody else, like that is the plane I expect to be rented.
I only put this on the line literally days ago, and it's already been renting so much. So that's a new addition to our fleet. It's not even on our website yet. That's how new it is. And then on the Cessna side, I have a 2023 G1000 NXI, beautiful Skyhawk. And then we have 3 172 mic models that all have Garmin upgraded panels. But those are obviously our most cost efficient aircraft in the flight school. So what I think is really amazing and unique about the school is that we can cater to almost any type of client. We can cater to the younger kids who are really airline driven and are very cost sensitive and put them in the Skyhawk mic models. We can cater to the local adult that just wants to get their license or something. They probably fit best in the G1000 NXI Skyhawk. And then the whole way to the kind of that top tier of local businessmen and women who want to learn to fly and probably own their own aircraft one day and want the top end safety features and all the glamour and the air conditioning and all that. And for that, we have the Cirrus Life. So we just kind of have an amazing spectrum, I think, of being able to market to multiple pools of people.
It is. It's naturally like, what do you want? We have an a la carte menu. And the best thing about the mic models is they are all TAA equipped. So,
well, except one of them. One of them doesn't have an autopilot.
Okay, sure. I'm sorry. One of them doesn't have an autopilot. So, like, we have anything and everything you need, from discovery flight to CFII. Whatever you want, to rentals. Come and rent the planes. Do whatever you want. We have it. We have a great staff, too. We have, how many instructors we have now?
Oh, I'm going to have to count. I have 3, 6, 7, 8 or 9.
8 or 9.
And then, because I also have a chief pilot who's awesome and does a lot of our training for our instructors and our mock check rides and all that. So we have a lot of structure for a Part 61 school, I will say, which I was really blown away about as I stepped into the role of owning the school, that Part 61 can very much be a zoo and totally cowboy flying with no structure. That's the pro and the con of Part 61. But what I really love about the way the school was already structured is that it does have a lot of different milestones that they incorporate into the students' courseware of when they fly with the chief pilot or another instructor. There's a lot of checks and balances involved. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, this is a whole ass business. I mean, we have a simulator. We have
we have a real
5 line guys.
A real sim gear. It's an SR Cirrus simulator, and it is freaking awesome. It can simulate an SR 20, 22, or 22T, and it's a G7 variant. So for everyone that is going for their instrument rating or even your commercial, you can legally log a lot of hours towards that and save a lot of money and get all your procedures down in a simulator versus trying to learn it in the real deal.
Yeah, I was a big proponent of sims when I was instructing, and I love the fact that, wow, we have an amazing brand new simulator. That's
yes. Cool. But yeah, we have full line staff. The facility, We have a hangar that fits 5 of our 7 aircraft, so only 2 of them have to spend the night on the ramp, which is really nice and very unique for a flight school to have hangared aircraft.
Yeah, it's got this sweet lift in it that like you guys just need to come out and make a trip to see it. So they stack the Skyhawk up on this lift and then slide in the Cirrus underneath it. It's freaking sweet.
Yeah, I have this hydraulic lift where we can add one more plane into the hangar. And then on the indoor facilities, it's a 2-story facility. So I have some offices downstairs, of course, the main lobby where you come check in. And there's actually a full bath downstairs. There's a full shower, which we don't use. It's kind of a storage facility right now. But the inside was designed for someone to live in this hangar at one point. So it has a lot of extra amenities because of that. People are no longer allowed to live at this airport any longer. But originally when it was built out, it was built for that reason. So the downstairs, we have a whole big space of a customer lounge area where a lot of our clients come and study, or our instructors are hanging out in between their flights. It's just kind of, I don't know, I don't want to call it a break room because it's not just for employees, but it's a lounge.
Right.
And it has a full kitchen with a fridge and a stove and a microwave, and it is a full kitchen. And I love that because I bring my lunch to work every day. And my instructors love it too, I think, because they get to eat really healthy when they're there and bring their own food and not have to run the Chick-fil-A every day. And then upstairs, we have what used to be bedrooms is now converted into several classrooms. There's a couple of private study spaces up there with soundproof walls and TVs and stuff like that. And of course, whiteboards, a lot of resources and literature up there for people to self-study or do their briefs and debriefs with their instructors. That's also where the simulator is. And then there's another full bathroom upstairs. So the facility is pretty sweet.
Yeah. So I have not been present very much. So every time I come back to visit.
Yeah, you're saying we a lot over there. And you've been here for like 3 seconds.
Okay. Well, every time I come back, it seems like you have renovated and made this place look so different from the time we saw it back in April?
Yeah.
For the first time, like the amount of like sweat equity you are putting in.
Oh, yeah.
Is incredible. Like this place looks like a vibe now.
So I'll say the facility, what it looked like when I walked in, it just didn't have a woman's touch.
That's a good way of putting it.
You know, it wasn't bad. It was just outdated and hadn't had a refreshed look for a number of years. So I'm coming in with fresh eyes. And so that's actually a term that I've been using a lot lately, because as you settle into any space, whether it's a new house, a new work facility, your dentist office, the first time you go somewhere, you notice a lot of things like, whoa, like that's really dirty, or whoa, that's really outdated, or why do they do that? But as you acclimate to places, and it happens very fast. It only takes a week or two to fully acclimate, and you become blind to things that when you first walked in for the first time was like, whoa, need to change that. And I'm trying to make notes of all of those things, or I did make notes of all those things of when I first walked in, kind of those first impressions, because I want new clients walking in to feel right away that, oh, like I understand why flying is expensive, because not only am I flying an airplane, but look at these amazing facilities that are provided, and look at all these amenities that they have. And I can come here and study. I can bring my family here. There's seating in the hangar for people. Whenever your son or daughter is going on a discovery flight, it's truly a family atmosphere. I just want the culture and the vibe to be right from the moment they walk in the door. And I don't have that perfect yet. So if you come by right now, it's not immediately done. I'm in the middle of it. I'm very much in the thick of remodeling, but I just want people to feel good about where they're doing business.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I mean, it feels great right now.
That's not, I can't agree with you yet. I think that we're close. I have very high standards.
You do, which is why this is exciting. I mean, you were explaining to me like the process of actually purchasing this when I was away. I can't even understand how you got to this point. Like buying a business seems impossible.
I will say the process of purchasing a business was really disappointing and disheartening because we've all been sold the American dream that anyone can open and own a business in America. And while that's true, it's very freaking hard. And I was asking the gentleman that I purchased it from, which I'll give you guys a backstory here in a second. I was asking him because he owns a lot of other businesses that he had started in the 80s and 90s. And I said, was it always this hard? Like, it seems like there's so much red tape. And I feel like someone who's very educated. I have a good financial background. Like I have all the tools in place to be a good business owner. And making this purchase was really difficult. All the red tape and the barriers and the paperwork and the documents, it's a lot. And I said, was it always like this? And he said, no, absolutely not. That he's like, in his opinion, he's like, they're trying to make it really difficult for people like you and me to start and own a business these days because they want everything to be corporate and corporations and private equity and not be owned by the everyday person like me and you. And I couldn't agree more because I'm still in the acquisition phase. We closed a couple weeks ago, but there's still several things to do after closing. And it's really, really hard.
Yeah, I don't understand how you even got to this point. But all I do know is you actually own the business now. It is in your name, which is unbelievable.
Yes. Okay. So a couple more FAQs before we wrap this up that everyone keeps asking if Kevin is working at the flight school. No. Kevin volunteers at the flight school sometimes, but since we've moved to Georgia, he's been here maybe 3 or 4 days.
Not many days.
He is off pursuing his own pilot dream and career. So we have separate careers like we always have. I'm excited that this opportunity of me owning the flight school is bringing our family together on business and that there's opportunity for us to work together, but it hasn't happened yet. So we're still very much separate careers right now because Kevin is working his tail off on his own endeavor right now.
Yes. And Mindy is working her tail off on this.
On my own endeavor. So I've always been the one that's really attracted towards business. My whole career, the last over 10 years, I've always loved and been in love with business. That's why I never went to the airlines and never wanted a flying job. As much as I love flying, I love business even more. So this really spoke to me. And
speaking of business,
yes,
another FAQ. Are you still selling airplanes?
Yes. So the whole point of this is so that I sell airplanes even more than I ever have. Obviously, right now, a lot of my time and devotion is put into the flight school. I still have a bunch of listings out there. I'm working with a lot of clients. I'm very much keeping up pace with the clients that I have right now. And I'm taking on new clients as well. But I'm not actively prospecting like I normally would, like trying to find a lot of new business, just the time capacity. But every single day, I'm getting more out of the whole of this acquisition and putting more effort back into my sales business. But our most successful reps at Lone Mountain Aircraft, where I sell airplanes, also own flight schools. Yep. So this was inspired by my colleagues who I have mentioned before, and I'll mention again. The people I work with at Lone Mountain are the most impressive, inspirational people you will ever meet. And
one of them was my old boss.
Yes, exactly. So this doesn't come as a brand new theory on our school. It's
not reinventing the wheel, right?
It is very proven that if you own a flight school and you're building pilots, some of them are going to want to buy airplanes.
Right.
And it's an amazing thing because then you have two successful businesses. You have a flight school and then you have your sales business. And then, oh, by the way, they talk to each other. the flight school creates pilots and you get to sell them airplanes. And then when you sell airplanes, it's like, oh, by the way, I own a flight school. Why don't you come with us to get your instrument rating? They talk back and forth and provide leads for each other. It's pretty genius. So whenever I had this opportunity, I was like, absolutely yes.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a quick backstory. Everyone says, how did this come about?
Well, that's a good question.
Well, first of all, it happened really fast.
Unbelievably fast.
We had left Sun and Fun, anticipating to move. Can I say where? No?
To
the East Coast.
The East Coast.
Okay, Kevin doesn't. Kevin's so secretive. Okay, we were anticipating.
Not Georgia.
Yes.
So further east than Georgia.
We were planning on moving to a totally different state. And after Sun and Fun, we were both literally on our couch in Vegas, on our computers, looking up apartments and houses and where we wanted to live in this other city that we had committed to at that point, besides signing a lease somewhere. But we were like, yep, we're moving to this place. And I get a phone call at that exact moment from a guy named Paul. That's who I bought this flight school from, who's one of my very dear friends, mentors. He's a father figure to us. I met Paul, and this is where it's going to come back. I've told everyone who wants career advice from me that networking and relationships are everything. Don't ever make a relationship with the anticipation of getting something out of it, but just know that every relationship is important, and it could circle around one day. So 8 years ago, I sold Paul his first brand new Skyhawk when I was working for Captain John Aviation. And I sold him the Skyhawk, and for whatever reason, I just really hit it off with him. He's the nicest guy ever, and him and his wife became good friends with me and Kevin, to the point where we go on vacation with them. Like we stay in close contact, and he literally calls us his adoptive kids.
Right. I mean, I went skiing in Breckenridge with him in March, and we did not have this conversation at all.
So he calls me and says, hey, Mindy, real quick. So I sold him his first Skyhawk, and then I sold him a brand new 206, and then I sold that 206 for him while working at Lone Mountain. And then I've sold 1, 2, 3 or 4 other planes for him. So we've done a lot of business deals together outside of our personal relationship, where I know that I love him very dearly. Also know him as a businessman, and he has very successful other businesses. And so, and I've done a lot of business work with him. So I know him from kind of every angle, you could say. And so he calls me and says, hey, I have the flight school, North Georgia Aviation. He had owned it for 5 years. When he had bought it, and I'm kind of putting that in quotes, it was a one airplane, quote, flight school. It wasn't really a flight school. He just bought a plane with a name and a brand. And so he bought it 5 years ago. And then now it's grown to this huge fleet, this huge operation, this huge staff. And he's like, it grew so quickly, obviously, because of his investment into it. And he's like, but I don't have the time to cater to the school the way it needs to now. Like, it's been built, and now someone needs to go in there and run the day-to-day and kind of clean it up and take it to the next step.
You're right. It's not the next level anymore. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, that's true. It was kind of a hobby for him. And then he was like, oops, made a business. So he's like, I am looking for someone to pretty much, the way he said it, adopt my baby. He's like, I care so much about aviation. He's been a pilot for, the last 8 years since I sold him a plane, but it's always been a hobby. And he's like, I've had several offers for people to buy the business, but they're so money. And they just were like, what's the numbers? And how do I make this more profitable? And let's hike up the rates. And he's like, nothing feels like a good fit. So if you know of anyone that would be a good fit to buy the school, he's like, I'm looking for the right person, not the right money, if that makes sense. And so Kevin had overheard this conversation with me and Paul. And I was like, yeah, let me think about it. I hung up, and I immediately looked at Kevin and said, I want to buy the school. And what did you say?
You're crazy. Like, what possibly will compel you to buy the school? But then at the same token, I was like, if we were ever going to do something this crazy, it would be buying it from a guy like Paul. Because,
yes.
the reality.
Oh, yes. What we did, I would never have done with a stranger.
Because my first reaction was like, what are we doing? We're going to start our new life immediately. We're looking at houses, and then we just, of course, do what the Lindheims do best is throw a curveball and say, what if we do this? And I will say we had about a 10-minute conversation, and that was it. That's how decisive that decision was.
Well, and that conversation was, at this point, Kevin had accepted a pilot position.
Right.
And that's why we were moving to a new city. And I looked at him and said, are you okay with us completely diverting our plans? Because the last several years, I have bought into your career change, and we have supported each other throughout our whole careers. And this is a huge change because we were going to go live in base for you, and this would mean you have to commute to work, and I am going to be totally distracted with my new business. So are you okay with this? Because I need your support here. Like, I need your buy-in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that any successful relationship, if you ask anyone that's older, they do things for each other, and throughout our life we have done that. Like, way back when I moved to Chicago for you, when you got hired at Textron, you moved to Atlanta when I got hired as a controller. We both wanted to move back to Orlando. Then I moved to Vegas because of job opportunities for you and myself.
Yep.
And then you were going to move for me. So it was just time. And then the decision of like, what's the best option was decided in 10 minutes, because we've had this happen so many times in our life that we're not here competing with each other. We're here, trying to build.
How can we make it work for both of us?
Right, for both of us. And like, we don't think one or the other's career is more important, and that's not ever an option in our relationship. Right now, we're going to be in a position where we both get what we want, which is crazy. Yes, there's some challenges associated with commuting. I get it, everybody out there. You're going to tell me, who cares? Like, if your wife was presented this opportunity, you're going to support her.
Right.
Like, it's not even a question mark.
Well, Kevin and I, we both watch a lot of interviews and clips of people that inspire us, which are successful entrepreneurs and business people. And we're always studying, how did people get rich? How did they get wealthy? How did they get to that next level? And what we've taken away from all of that media that we've ingested about it is they all say that at some point in your career, you're going to be presented with an opportunity that sounds kind of crazy, sounds risky. And the only way to get to the next level is if you bet on yourself and you say yes, even when it's scary. And if it scares you a little, you're probably making a good move. Because if you stay in a safety zone, you're never going to reach that next level of wealth or what you define as success.
Every single person that you've ever sold an airplane to, I always ask the question.
Me too.
What is it? Yeah. And, everyone starts with, you have to work really, really hard. Well, we do that. You have to be in a position where you can, say yes, which we've always poised ourselves at. And then the last thing is you got to have a door open for you. Because especially in today's world where it's not like our parents, we're not going to get on that soapbox and talk about our parents had it different. But the reality is you need that door to be open. And the door was open.
And it doesn't open often.
No.
And it may not open ever again. And so when this door opened, Kevin and I were like, man, this is terrible timing, because we were both starting some pretty big brand new careers at the same time. And we're not going to have a lot of time for each other. And we're not going to have a lot of time to support each other. Like, where this is going to be independent solo acts for a couple of months. And we're going to have to give everything we can to maintain our relationship as much as we can during this, and give whatever percentage of our body batteries that we have left to support each other's career and even ask about each other's day. Like, it's been hard right now, as you have been working so hard in your training and I've been working so hard in my business. At the end of the day, we're both so freaking tired and we get our one phone call that lasts about 15 minutes because that's all the time we have. And we're both like struggling to listen to each other's stories from the day because it's like we both have our own universe going on. And it's really hard and it's really important that we ground ourselves and make sure that we make time for each other.
I feel pretty lucky though, because I mean, I'm going through type school right now and a lot of spouses don't understand what that is. And you do.
Yeah.
So like what you're going through is significantly harder than what I'm going through. But at the same time, I'm experiencing this in real time.
Yes.
So to me, it's the biggest thing in the world. Yet you're purchasing a business that has 18 employees. That's significantly harder, but you have this understanding of how difficult it is to go through type school.
A deep appreciation for that.
So like it's such a weird thing that, you know, it's working. Like,
yeah,
I feel really, really weird about not being present. I wasn't there on closing day, which really sucked, but we still,
my dad's calling.
Your dad's calling.
My phone's on silent, but dad gets through.
Anyways, I don't want to get too sentimental here about how much I think we lean on each other, but it's true. Like the amount of support that you've given me over the past 2 months while going through easily the most stressful and challenging endeavor ever is incredible. Like, it just is.
Likewise.
Like, it just is.
Likewise, I'm pretty impressed with both of us that we've been able to give time and capacity to each other among what we're doing independently.
Right.
The last kind of FAQ that I'm getting a lot is, wow, I didn't know that you ever wanted to buy a flight school. Has that always been your dream? And my answer is, no, it was not always my dream.
No, I joke that she's crazy, but she's not like actively colluding to be crazy.
No, okay. And why? I never knew I could dream this big. I never saw myself even becoming a pilot. So I'm already way past my wildest dreams. And when I became a pilot, I never dreamed I would own my own plane. And now that I've owned a plane for several years, I never dreamed that I would have this incredibly successful career in aircraft sales.
Speaking of sexist, I'm going to put the elephant in the room. We all know this, and I know we don't talk about it. We are pretty good about being mellow, but you are a pretty blonde young woman. That is not the norm. When you walk into North Georgia Aviation, you're going to see my wife sitting there as the owner, and that's going to be different. And you know what? Different is good, because she is going to be the greatest boss, greatest owner ever to exist, because she understands what it takes to push a little bit harder than everybody else.
Yeah, I will say my standards are really high, and I also have very strong boundaries, and that's new for a lot of people, especially in the South.
It's funny. Yeah, no, your employees are buying in real quick.
Yeah, no, that's a whole nother discussion we could have about the onset of being a true leader. And I've studied a lot of leadership, and I've been in a lot of leadership courses from my corporate background. And I think I have a good understanding of what it's like to be a good leader. I still am educating myself more and more every day about that, how to be a good leader. Some people believe that there are natural leaders, and there are. People are magnetic that you want to follow. But I don't think anyone can be a good leader without educating themselves on how to do so. There's a lot of people who have had bosses, and I know everyone's probably shaking their head right now, that absolutely suck because they have done not 1 ounce of research on how to be a good boss and a good leader and how to truly lead employees to be their best self.
I love what you just said, magnetic. You are magnetic.
Thank you.
Like, you are magnetic. That's a fantastic word.
Some people just are, and I hope that is true about myself. But I think that what makes someone magnetic is they're someone who's larger than life, who has big ideas, and not only big ideas, but implements them, that actually makes moves, that's not just a talker, someone that's a doer, someone that leads by example, someone that's there on Sunday night painting walls and building cabinets and putting in the work and not just pointing fingers telling other people what to do. I think that those types of people that I have worked for who are magnetic is what's really driving me on how I want to lead my business, because I've had some of the best leadership and bosses in the entire world. At Lone Mountain specifically, some of the people on our team are the best leaders I've ever met. And then I have had some of the freaking worst bosses, like horror stories that need to be shared on the Captain John Doe podcast.
Later date. Well, thank you guys for listening. I know this story is about your guys' story, but every now and again we get to share ourselves, but we're still going to do that. We still have a couple stories submitted.
Yeah, we do.
I think we're gonna hit on our travel in the next episode, but we just wanted to share the unbelievably life-changing news in our household that Mindy bought a flight school and Kevin is no longer a CFI. So
I can't wait for you to share your news.
I've shared it. I'm just not like, to be honest, I think I said this on the last one. Until I have my ink on my certificate, I'm not comfortable talking about it because I'm a baseball player and I'm superstitious.
Yep.
Simple as that. I'm not trying to hide it from anybody.
That's fair.
I'm in training. I'm in type school right now. I'm on the East Coast. Do your thing.
Well, the simple, I'm glad you defined it like that, because you not sharing your news has created, I'll say on social media, people are like, so you bought a flight school? And I'm like, yes. They're like, is Kevin involved? Not really. Is he instructing there? No. Did Kevin move with you? Kind of.
My stuff is physically in the house.
He lives in another state. Are you and Kevin still together? Yes.
Yes.
And you, without sharing your news, has created a lot of confusion for people because they don't understand why you're not involved in the business.
It's the baseball superstition thing. I'll say this. I did pass my knowledge validation the other day.
Yay.
So we are moving along. We have minimal time left. So I'd say in maybe 2 or 3 podcasts from now, I hope that I will have my wings. So anyways, let's move on, Schmin.
Okay. Well, yeah, an extended intro, but we wanted to share, I don't know, I think Kyle, which we'll get to later, complains about our personal stories, but I'll just throw it out there that it's so important for you guys to get to know us, because if we're reading these listener stories and we're giving our opinions, why the hell would you value our opinions if you don't know who we are as people?
Why the hell would you value our opinions?
If you don't know who we are as people.
Put that on a shirt.
Yeah. But us sharing our stories gives us some credibility, gives you background on who we are and our experiences and why our perspectives may be different than yours on how we react to some of these stories. And so we're always going to share these personal stories in the beginning, aviation related. I could tell you how I almost burned down the house this morning trying to cook bacon, but
unbelievable job. Actually,
yeah, we're going to skip those and we keep it aviation centric. That way we can just, bring you guys into our aviation world.
Right. Well, if you want us to read your story, head over to our website, www.captainjohndoe.com, to submit your story to our show. They're fully anonymous and is exactly what we read right here on our show every Wednesday. You can submit any aviation story, anything. I don't even care what you submit. Just submit something. They are coming in hot and heavy, but they will run out. We don't want to be like Dirty Jobs and Mike Rowe where we're begging.
Oh my gosh. I love Mike Rowe. Don't shit on
Mike Rowe's show got canceled because he ran out of stories. Don't do that to our show.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Anyways, follow us on social media, subscribe so you don't miss an episode, leave a review. 5 stars only. If they're not 5 stars, I'm not going to read them. Okay?
Oh.
Speaking of...
Kevin's got standards too.
Speaking of reviews, Texan Nation, 5 stars only. Knowledge, experience, humor. Wow. That's the title. The title says it all. This little corner of the internet will provide you meaningful advice earned experience, and a whole bunch of laughs along the way. Thank you.
Thank you. That's kind of what I was just saying.
Everyone says knowledge. Like, I forget that, like, I guess we're providing knowledge. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like, you always get that imposter syndrome. Like, am I able to give you knowledge? Well, the reality is, it's like, I don't want to flex too hard. I'm an air traffic controller. I'm a CFII, and now I'm an airline pilot. You are a typed rated ATP jet pilot with a decade of sales experience and now a flight school owner. I will say that resume is pretty good.
Well, we're not like teaching in a way that flight instructors teach. We're just saying our experiences and how they're similar or dissimilar to the stories that we've gotten.
Right.
It's just, I don't know, just our background. But thank you for the review. Remember that we are doing merch drawings, a monthly merch giveaway all year long in 2026. And we are over halfway through the year already. One winner is selected on the last Wednesday of each month, which means the next merch drawing will be episode number 54, I believe, which should be July 29th, if I've got that right. You can enter for free by following us on Instagram. There's a giveaway post that you just make a comment on. It's just that easy. Or leave us a podcast review, which is my preferred way you enter. Send us a DM after you complete it, and then you get an extra entry for our merch drawing. It's just that easy. Open to U.S. residents 18 and older. Full rules are on our website, or go to our Instagram bio.
Drum roll. Kyle's comments. What do you got today? Kyle's been lighting us up.
So if you guys remember, a few episodes ago, we introduced Kyle's comments. Kyle is our friend. I have to say it like that. Kyle. He's our friend who's an airline pilot, and he's been one of our dear friends for a long time, and a avid listener of the Captain John Doe podcast.
Avid critique of the Captain John Doe.
And he will always text us after he listens to an episode and give us his BS little comments about it. So one day I was driving home thinking about Kyle's comments, and I was like, we're going to start reading them on the podcast, because honestly, normally what he says is pretty hilarious. And I feel like he's a voice of the people. I fear that we've given him too much power.
Right. He's getting a little overzealous on these comments now.
So hold on.
Need a couple.
Well, we skipped a few episodes of Kyle's comments because we had to pre-record them because Kevin and I don't live in the same state right now. And so he didn't have a chance to listen to them, obviously, and give us his comments. But now he is caught up and we are caught up. And we have some Kyle's comments. And I'm going to try to find...
Yeah, this is actually, we're truly caught up. This is happening in real time right now. Because you just announced on Instagram the other day.
Yeah.
And this episode's coming out right in time.
Okay, I think I should read this set.
Go.
This set of Kyle's comments is about the episode where we talked about us doing our IPC, or me doing my IPC in the SR-20, and you were my flight instructor.
Uh-huh.
So he says, something Kevin doesn't often say to Mindy, you're too slow, which was regarding to me getting too slow on my airspeed.
Right.
And usually I'm a million miles a minute.
Right.
Not physically, but mentally.
That is a good point, Kyle. Thank you.
He says, number 2, I wonder if any of your other listeners zoned out during your 10-minute drawn-out IPC story, didn't skip any details except how many rivets are on the SR-20.
Well, there probably aren't many rivets because it's carbon.
Composite. Screw you, Kyle. We're telling our stories.
This is our podcast, Kyle. We talk about what we want.
We're telling you, okay, he is going to die that we had a 30-minute...
That was way too long for Kyle.
We had a 30-minute intro. He's going to be dying.
Sorry.
Kevin, number 3. Kevin says he's available for an IPC in the very near future, but he neglected to say how to do that. Would you mind letting me know where I can fly with him?
North Georgia Aviation.
Yes. So,
but not in the...
We didn't really leave a lot of Easter eggs about what was going on in my life. You've been leaving a lot of Easter eggs about yours, but we completely did not hint to any of mine.
North Georgia Aviation, Gainesville, Florida.
Our website is aviationnga.com, and you can request a discovery flight there. Put in the notes that you want it to be Kevin, and maybe it'll happen, maybe not. We'll see.
Maybe not, but maybe so.
If it's like near future, probably not.
I definitely will be doing it, but like not in the next like month or two.
He says, yes, the fishing reel sound, Mindy. Excellent execution. Which I don't know if he thought that I put. So Kyle really wanted us to put a like fishing line sound when Kevin got off topic of me like reeling him back in. And on one of those episodes, or this episode we're talking about, I just made the zzz, like sound with my mouth. And I wonder if he thought that that was actually a sound effect.
Okay.
He said, next soundbite, the weed whacker. Too deep in the weeds and you realize you need to abruptly pivot out. Bzzz, and we're back to our main topic. This is what podcasts are for, Kyle. We got to go down the rabbit holes.
Yeah.
47 minutes in, and only 2 times that Mindy has corrected Kevin on using podcast equipment properly.
That's good. Have you done it yet today?
No, because before we started recording, I gave you a briefing on what not to do this episode.
By the way, everyone listening, she gives me the briefing every episode. Do not touch the mic. Do not cough into the mic. Do not take drinks into the mic.
Does that say more about you or more about me?
I don't know, but if I
have to brief you before every podcast episode on how to properly use the mic.
Here's the thing. The reason we have to do this is because you guys out there will comment when our audio is messed up. And that does not look good on the production team. And our production team, we pay them a lot of money, i.e. Mindy.
Yeah, so Kevin over here doesn't do any post-production editing.
That's not true. I put the notes in. Oh, you said editing.
Yeah, Kevin, shut up. Just shut up. Kevin does no editing, so he doesn't understand that some of his antics that he does with the mic, like he'll like rub it on his shirt. He'll be like fumbling it around like it's a football. I'm like, dude, you can hear that. And in the edit, I can't edit that out. And so since you don't edit, you don't have an appreciation for just how perfect the audio has to be in going cleanly for it to come out.
Where's that weed whacker sound?
Yeah.
All right.
Hold on. He says, God damn it. The podcast was almost over. And I was thinking, finally, Kevin is becoming a solid podcaster until he yelled, see ya. Respect lost. Hope gone. I hope he doesn't pull that crap when flying for the airlines.
Jeez, it's so personal.
They're so personal.
So personal.
Kyle's comments.
Thanks, Kyle. All right. Weed whacker sound. All right, this first story, we're going to get into listener submitted story. This one feels personal as well.
This one's so personal.
I will say.
Wait, am I going to be allowed to tell them about a story about the flight school after this?
I don't care what you do. We're probably over on time already, so what does it matter?
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, let me dive right in. Since ZYNs have been mentioned on the show a couple times, I thought I would share a story about my buddy's recent multi-IFR flight test that had me in tears. He knows I'm sharing it. Well, we're not going to say his name. We are students at a flight college in Canada, nearing the end of our training. The way it works here is we do all of our IFR training in a twin and a Seminole and obtain a Group 1 instrument rating, Group 1 being multi-engine. It's typical the last flight we complete as part of the program. Here goes the story. My buddy's getting ready for his multi-IFR ride. He's already passed the oral portion, so now it's on to flying. After prepping the plane, they both hop in. This examiner is known to be a little on the difficult side, but is a good, knowledgeable examiner who has worked for Transport Canada and the safety department for years. Anyways, they're sitting in the plane, getting all their stuff sorted, buckled up, and getting ready to go. My buddy decides it's a good idea to, in front of the examiner, pop a ZYN in before they get started. Why would he ever think that's a good idea in front of the examiner is beyond me, but what follows is incredible. He puts the ZYN in the upper deck and then closes the tin and reaches in the back seat to put it in his bag. As he's reaching back, the examiner asks, "Can I have one of those?" My buddy pauses and says, "Sure." He opens the tin and the examiner selects his ZYN and pops it in his mouth. My buddy said that while originally he was thinking he may just be testing him, he was now thinking he must have just had a habit, just like so many of us. He doesn't question it much more, and they begin to go through the pre-start process. A couple minutes go by, and my buddy's about to start the engines. He gets interrupted in his checklist by the examiner asking, "What the heck did you just give me?" He looks over to the examiner, confused and uncomfortable face, to see him moving his mouth around, almost in a chewing way. He responds with, "What do you mean?" The examiner again asks, "What did you give me?" As my buddy says the words, "It's a nicotine pouch." He watches the examiner as he visibly chewing the pouch and then proceeds to gulp it down the gullet.
No.
Yes, the examiner just chewed and swallowed a ZYN.
Oh, I'm about to puke.
My friend's face turns white as a ghost as panic starts to set in. The examiner asks, "What is a nicotine pouch?" many times. They both start to panic, and my buddy pulls out his phone to frantically search up what to do when his ZYN is swallowed. The examiner says he's going to go inside to get water and figure out what to do. He's gone for close to 20 minutes while my friend is sitting in the cockpit about to do the biggest flight test of his life, crapping bricks that he just poisoned his examiner. He finally returns and climbs back in the Seminole. Somehow, some way, they decide to proceed with the flight test. My friend said it was the most nerve-wracking flight he has ever done, and all he could think about were the events that just happened on the ground before the flight. The IFR rides are quick. A SID, a hold, a CDFA approach, go missed, and usually an LPV ILS down to the ground single engine. Takes about 40 minutes if done well. It didn't help that the winds were gusting up to 37 knots this afternoon, so the light Seminole was getting absolutely tossed around. My buddy is shooting the final approach of the ride, the ILS back in for a full stop. Keep in mind he's under the hood the entire time. They're about 1,000 feet when he sees in the corner of his eye the examiner reaching behind the seat for a puke bag.
Oh no.
On final, getting tossed under the hood, simulated single engine, the examiner proceeds to projectile vomit many times into the bag until they get on the ground. They finally get back to the college where, again, somehow, some way, my friend passed his ride despite some pretty hilarious circumstances.
Oh my gosh.
He now has a fresh Group 1 instrument rating and a hell of a story to tell. Needless to say, when someone asks for a pouch, make sure they know it's a pouch and not a stick of gum. Love the show and keep up the great episodes coming.
Oh my God.
I love. So Zinnies, for anyone that does not know, if you live under a rock, is a little tiny pouch with nicotine salt in it.
My jaw is on the ground.
If you swallow that, there is a high likely chance of you puke.
People normally trying a ZYN for their very first time, if they've never done nicotine, will puke if they do it the correct way.
And this is a Canadian hockey player, most likely. There's no way it's a 3 milli. It's definitely a 6 milli.
It's definitely a 6 milli. Upper decky.
6 milli. To the examiner on your multi-check ride? Yes.
Let's break this down real quick. If you do ZYNs, as most pilots do, or any nicotine, whatever, do not put one in front of your examiner, your flight instructor, your passengers, your clients, your students. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But especially on your flight test in front of your examiner. What were you thinking?
Hockey bro. Telling you. Hockey bro.
What were you thinking? And then, and then he asked for one. He thought it was a gum.
The thing is they're in a little can that looks like it could be a mint.
Like mint.
And I could see that happening.
So
but the fact that he put it in his upper decky is a little confusing.
The
student put it in the upper deck.
Yeah, the examiner didn't. You were the one reading the story.
I just
No, the student put it in his lip, and then the examiner clearly thought it was like a mint or something, put it in, was like, ew, this tastes weird, then started trying to chew it like gum. Imagine that, all that powder opening up in your mouth. That would have been instant vomit.
Yeah.
And then swallowed it. I feel like I'm kind of gonna vomit just thinking about it right now, as I'm literally looking at a tin of ZYNs right in front of me.
Hey, all I'll say is good for the examiner to not can the ride.
I'm shocked.
Shocked.
I'm absolutely
sick.
blown away. Well, I'm blown away for a number of reasons that he didn't like DQ this kid for doing that.
I mean, it doesn't say
I know
you can't do Zimbabwe's. I don't know the rules because there is no.
There is no rule. Yeah, there's nothing against it. It's not a
I can just
drug.
picture this kid right now. He's got long hair. He plays hockey, and he thinks that putting his Zimbabwe on his check ride and giving it to the examiner was a normal thing.
Oh my god. I am just like blown away that this happened because I have never heard of this happening with just like people, but like not knowing it was a ZYN, chewing it, swallowing it, like that whole experience. But then for it to happen in the cockpit of an airplane, I am absolutely blown away. That's so disgusting, and that's crazy that he was actually vomiting. The instructor was vomiting as they were coming in the lane.
Make sure you have puke bags. We've talked about the porta-johns so many times, but we also need to talk about those puke bags.
Yeah, we've had a lot of vomit stories.
Make sure you got them puke bags ready, and make sure you know how to use them, because a lot of people, like my new students, we'd have a little envelope in the puke bag, and I'd always ask them, you know how this works? And they would kind of, lie and be like, yeah, you just open the envelope up, puke in it. I'm like, you think that you're going to puke in this little tiny pocket? No, guess what's in the little envelope? A baggie. You take the baggie out and you open it up. I know it sounds silly, but for you instructors out there, make sure you tell them how to use the puke bag, because it will happen.
Good point. The fact, though, that the examiner, took it on the chin and still went and flew it and was puking because of that kid who gave him a drug prior to flying and still passed him.
He was poisoned by zinnies.
Wow.
Great story.
That guy has some good character.
I had to use it.
That's such a Canadian.
As you can tell, we like zinnies in this household as well.
Yeah.
But I would never do that in front of an examiner.
Oh my goodness. That's not where I thought that was going. I thought that it was going to end in the cockpit before the flight.
Right.
When he swallowed it and was like, I'm out. And you're out.
On final, and he still passed. I mean, must have flown great.
They're Canadian. They're extra nice. They said the guy was tough, but remember, they're still Canadian.
That's true.
So a tough Canadian is like
a puppy dog.
A puppy. An actual little puppy.
We're joking.
Just a little
All
puppy.
of our friends up north, we love you.
Well, you guys are just so nice.
You are too nice.
All right. Should we read my story?
Go for it.
So when I was a very new student pilot, I had a lesson that involved landing at an untowered field for the first time. Up to that point, all my training had been at a fairly busy Class Delta right under a low Bravo shelf. So this was very different than my prior experience. I was really focused on making proper radio calls, scanning for traffic, because there were quite a few airplanes in the pattern. To add to the situation, I was flying with a new instructor I had never flown with before. His style was a lot more relaxed and jokey than my usual instructor, who was pretty quiet. On final, I remember thinking something felt a little off, but I figured it was just the shorter runway messing with my sight picture. Anyway, I landed and not very gracefully, and we rolled almost to the very end of the runway before turning off. After we taxied clear, my instructor asked why the landing had been like that. I said, I wasn't sure. That's when he quietly pointed to the flap lever, fully retracted. Turns out I had landed the plane with no flaps, and I never noticed. That flight school had a lot of little moments like that. For example, once during a flight they did for a flying camp that they offered, I was sitting in the back of their only 172 without a working headset. On takeoff, I noticed the left door was cracked open a few inches. I tried tapping their shoulders and pointing frantically, but both the CFI and my friend just looked at me confused, somehow not understanding what I was saying. I was actually pretty freaked out at the time, as I was probably 12 years old, and I had never been in a small airplane before, so I really didn't know what things were a big deal and what things weren't. Finally, when we landed, I let them know, and they were both shocked that they hadn't noticed. I still don't know how they didn't understand what I was trying to tell them. Funnily enough, on this same flight, the instructor left his iPad on the wing and only noticed until we started taxiing to the runway. There was also the morning of my check ride. It was scheduled for the morning of my 17th birthday, so we had to rush to finish the IACRA stuff right before departure. I was very relieved when we were finally departing. It was only about a 2-minute flight to the airport my DPE was waiting at, and it was a very short hop between 2 Class Delta airports. About 30 seconds after takeoff, ATC called and said they weren't receiving Mode C from our transponder. We were under the Mode C veil, so me and my instructor kind of looked at each other, trying to figure out what to do. My instructor started recycling the transponder over and over again while I continued to fly the short hop over to the other airport. Quickly, the tower was forced to transfer us over, and thankfully the new tower didn't mention anything. My instructor just told me not to mention it to anyone and to continue unless ATC mentioned it, and thankfully they didn't. I passed my check ride that day with what was very possibly a broken transponder. And even months later, after plenty of maintenance squawks from different pilots, maintenance kept signing it off as could not be reproduced and never seemed to be fixed.
Well, I think I skipped ahead and picked this story because it was a flight school story to reiterate that at North Georgia Aviation, we 100% attain to every single squawk possible.
Well, okay. Reverse. Sound effect for Kyle. The first story was about him landing without flaps. Right. You as an instructor, if your student was coming in and totally forgot to put flaps in, would you ever mention it? Would you call a go around at the very bottom saying like, hey, you waited long enough? Would you let them land without flaps and then point it out? When are you pointing out that they've missed this crucial piece?
There's a chance I would let them land, but it depends on the student. So that's a hard...
And the runway.
Yeah, and the runway.
Is it a long runway?
Yeah, there's definitely a chance I would let that terminate all the way to shutdown, and they get to the shutdown checklist and see if they ever figure it out. So real quick sidebar. I don't
know that I would let it go that far.
It depends on the scenario. I think there's a chance I would let it go that far. So quick sidebar. This exact scenario where he put the flaps down, but they didn't retract. I do this every single time in the simulator because guess what? Every single time I do it,
he didn't put flaps in and they didn't work.
Didn't it say?
It says that's when he quietly pointed to the flap lever, fully retracted. He never even tried to.
Never even tried.
No, it's not like he tried to put in flaps and they didn't work. He never attempted to put flaps in.
Oh, I probably would have stopped it then if he didn't even attempt.
I would call a go around because that's almost like, I don't want to say it's punishment, but like, no, you don't get to land this because you forgot stuff.
No. I get what you're saying. Okay. That makes more sense. I was going to get on the soapbox saying I would fail the flaps in the sim and the student would never realize they weren't down.
I always put in like flaps 10 and then I look out the window and I say flaps 10 verified.
Right.
For example, because if your flap motor's not working, you might not notice it because it's so quiet.
I've done the flip side though, like where I do like instrument training and they have flaps 10 in and they never retract them until ever. We shut down the airplane. They'll go missed flaps. We'll fly 30 minutes with the flaps out and we'll land the airplane and I never say anything. So
okay,
I have
so
done
for
that.
this, would you do what I would do? I would like wait till they were like, feeling good that they were about to land. And I'd be like, go around. And then I would call the go around. And then they would go to retract flaps and they would go, oh.
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. I really think that's student dependent on where they are at their training. Like if they're check ride prep and they do that, I think calling the go around is more impactful.
I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of being able to land.
That's a good point. This is a.
It's so dissatisfying to not land whenever you are like ready to land.
Right. This is either or one. Like you're trying to prove a point no matter what. So I think either way works. But
so what I'm wondering though is, given the other stories about this flight school, did the instructor notice?
No.
I don't think the instructor noticed until way too far down the line.
I will say this: there's very few people out there that are that good that they wouldn't notice no flaps out on a Skyhawk. Like,
what do you mean that good to not notice?
Like where their flying skills are that picture perfect where you wouldn't be able to notice that the flaps weren't out. Like an instructor, I'm saying.
Well, it's purposefully not the same because you come in faster and you're not going to have those brief moments of lift when you put in it. Like,
I'm just saying
that doesn't make a pilot good that you don't notice.
No, I'm saying what instructor wouldn't notice that? Because I'm agreeing with you.
Okay.
I'm just saying like it'd be really hard to not notice that. like really hard.
I think that this instructor didn't notice until they were in ground effect for a really long time. And then he was like, oh. And then he acted all cool about it, pointing at the flap handle once they got off the runway. I don't think he noticed till probably the wheels were about to touch down.
Probably.
Because they said that this pilot is very relaxed and jokey, and then given the others, well, that was a different story. That wasn't the same instance. So they were saying that they first started going to this flight school years ago when they were 12 during like a summer camp. And that was this other story where the door was open, which that happens. I'm not going to really knock them on that. How did they not notice? Also don't know that because I feel like you would notice. But we'll let that go. The iPad left on the wing tells me that they don't do a good pre-flight at all. Because after your checklist pre-flight where you're looking at the fine details, you should always do a once around of a big picture view. And that's where you do things like, oh, there's a cone in front of the plane.
Right.
Oh, the fuel cap wasn't put on correctly. Oh, I left my iPad on the wing. That's what that last little walk-see's for, that little walkabout. So for me, for anyone listening, I do my detailed walk around. But when you do your actual pre-flight, you're looking so microscopically, you're not looking at the big picture. So for me, after I do my normal pre-flight, I do a once around in the opposite direction. And I look at the whole airplane from a wide angle, you could say, like,
knowledge.
Oh, it's got two wings on it. Like,
no, well, you trained me. So like that, what you're saying now makes so simple, but I think that not everybody does that.
No.
Because they're doing the fine tooth comb walk around, which is great, but you're not take a few steps back.
Yes.
And just look at the airplane itself as a whole.
What you said, literally take steps back and you look at it from a wide angle point of view. Are all the chains off? Are there any cones around? Once we start taxiing, is there going to be something in the way? Is there a big pothole in front of my nose wheel right now? Are the fuel caps actually put back on? And you can only see that from if you're actually like pretty far away from the plane on a high wing, at least. Is there a coffee cup left on the wing or an iPad? It's just that big picture it's not in your checklist to do this. It's not in your checklist. This is just common sense. Right. Right.
And then the transponder thing, this happens a lot more than you think. So, I mean, I'm not saying you should ignore this, but also like if you pop up and the tower says, I'm not picking up your mode C, that is your first time you're notified, right? So like at that point, now is it in op or not? So any flight after that is where you need to start questioning yourself. But like the initial thing, don't panic. Like, oh, really? Start troubleshooting whatever if your instructor even taught you how to turn your transponder to standby and whatever. But
that
happens a lot more than you think.
This school, I don't know. Obviously, there's a couple red flags there. They aren't the biggest red flags where I'm like overly concerned, but that's a lot of small red flags that make you go, is there somewhere else we should be interviewing?
It's a cultural thing there. You can tell the instructors are all a little
lax,
a little on the chill side, which I don't mind a chill instructor, but if we're forgetting,
there's a time and place to be chill. And you don't want to be so chill where you offer your examiner a ZYN or you leave your iPad on the wing. Like there's some times to not be chill, right? Right. Well, thank you guys for this extended episode this time. I know we ran over our normal time, but we wanted to be sure to share the more details of our life and news to our listeners first, because you guys are the best community that we've ever built on social media in general. We love our doughheads so much. And we thank you for all of your support of not only listening to the podcast, but supporting my school and supporting Kevin's career and just all the love that you guys have given us over the years. We greatly appreciate.
Yeah. If you're ever in the North Georgia area, please come and visit. Open invitation.
Open invite. North Georgia Aviation, baby. Come hang out. Pop a ZYN in the hangar.
Make sure you throw it in the trash, though. Don't put it on the ground.
Yeah, that's a story for another time. All right, with that, we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
See ya.
Oh, that's going to be on Kyle's comments.
Thanks for flying with Captain John Doe. If you have a story to share, visit CaptainJohnDoe.com and stay anonymous. New episodes every Wednesday. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and tell your favorite crew members.